The new best-selling PS5 game, Ghost of Yōtei, is really fun. But what really took me by surprise with the game is how it features the indigenous people of Japan in a way we haven't seen before. I'm talking about the Ainu, northern Japan's indigenous population who were largely wiped out due to Japanese colonialism.
A lot of people, even in Japan, aren't very aware of who the Ainu people are.
Hi, I'm Yara, and on this episode of Play This, I'm talking to Daniel Goldie Furlong about the lovingly researched indigenous Ainu influences in Ghost of Yōtei.
I think the material Ainu culture that's present in the game is probably the most accurate any game ever.
Okay, but first things first.
Who are the Ainu people, for those who do not know?
Essentially what they are is the indigenous population of northern Japan.
The Ainu were hunter-gatherers from the island of Ezo, what's now known as Hokkaido. They're a separate ethnic group from the Wajin, the dominant ethnic group of modern-day Japan. But Ghost of Yōtei is set way back in the 1600s, during the Edo period, when the Ainu people were living prosperously on what they called Ainu Moshir. The game does allow you to explore Ainu settlements where Ainu culture and traditions are on display in amazing detail.
Sucker Punch Productions partnered up with an Ainu sort of cultural advisor. What are some of the Ainu influences that have actually made their way into Ghost of Yōtei?
The main Ainu character that the player interacts with, Fuji, she has a mouth tattoo. Ainu women, when they reach a stage of maturity, they would be tattooed. It's quite a significant part of Ainu culture. You have the Chisei, the traditional Ainu dwellings. A lot of Ainu rituals are centered around the hearth. You offer sake to the hearth when you're doing certain rituals.
So tell me about the bear. There's a bear tradition.
The Iomante ceremony, in the Ainu spiritual tradition, you would have the kamui, which are these various spirits.
Spirits that the Ainu believed were inside all natural things, like animals, and could be communicated with.
You would have a bear cub. You would raise it in captivity. Then the kamui would tell the other kamui about how generous the Ainu people were because they raised it and fed it, looked after it like it was a member of their own family.
But in the 1800s, the Japanese colonized the Ainu's land and renamed it Hokkaido. They forced the Ainu to give up their traditional practices, the tattoos, the ceremonies, their language, and assimilate into Japanese culture.
The assimilation efforts meant that there aren't really any people left that speak Ainu. There is still a lot of controversy surrounding Ainu issues, and people don't really want to talk about that or address that.
In fact, it wasn't even until 2019 that the Japanese government recognized the Ainu as an indigenous group. But still, it's pretty cool that for years, video games and other forms of media like anime have been bringing Ainu culture to wider audiences.
I think in the end, things like Yōtei can help more people to introduce them to Ainu culture and to maybe get more people interested in Ainu culture.
Now, there is one more thing I wanted to bring up. Some critics argue that Ghost of Yōtei could have been a bit more audacious with how it represented the Ainu. The previous entry in the series, Ghost of Tsushima, was about an ethnic Japanese warrior fending off invading Mongol colonizers. So, these critics argue, why not do the same with an Ainu woman warding off Japanese colonizers in Ghost of Yōtei? But having played the game, I've got to say, it's still pretty cool to see Ainu culture represented like this.